is a life goal. It's got to go away and look for how can the group exist? What is the best thing for the group? It may mean you get what you want. You may have the best idea. If we're trying to build a dam, the leadership should be somebody who knows how to build a dam. But if we're trying to plant a field that will grow food, somebody else needs to be the leader. We've got to look at leadership as always moving to one or ones that can lead the group the best. And this is sustainable is a word that used to apply only to countries. Now it applies to small groups. Living is sustainable is when the... Okay. You want me to hush for a minute?
No, when you're done.
Okay, let me finish this sentence. Sustainable means that the group is using resources in a manner that will retain resources for the future and yet achieve what they're going to. Yes?
Well, two things. One, I agree. I've often said that the myth of self-sufficiency in this country has metastasized and become a cancer that is destroying us. But there is a place, I think, where we can look to the past for the solution, because 100 years ago, the European joke about Americans was America is the country where everybody's president of something. Because there were all of these bowling leagues and Knights of Columbus and neighborhood organizations and school boards, and everybody was a member of something, and everybody wound up being the president of something and the treasurer of something and the secretary of something, and they all knew how to work in groups and committees back when Robert's Rules of Order was the most popular book in the country.
All of this is very valid. I hadn't thought about that aspect, Andrew. Yes. Small groups working together can achieve massive things. Really. It does happen. This country is on too large a scale. It just flounders in itself. Even states are large scale. We've got to go back to community, whether it's a group that meets on Tuesday night or it's a group that lives at the end of the dirt road and they're all sharing everything that they have. There are many ways, and I'm really glad you thought of that, because I hadn't. Good addition. You get a point. But we need to work with all of those things. Anybody else got anything they want to put into this?
Behind you.
I can't see you speak.
My name's Ed. One of the strongest things that's really moving through the community right now at several different levels, my own group, a lot of other groups, is seed saving.
Seed saving.
And there's a very big point is that the level of extinction, not just food seeds, but seeds in general, the level of current extinction events, at 6 extinction, and the growth of how we're dealing with genetics, this will become Picasso's to your family. This is the way you build long-term wealth in a pagan world. That is seed saving and saving the diversity of nature as best you can, both economically, for our own health, to reconnect locally, and to survive what could be a series of funguses and plagues that go across plants. If you've got them stored.
Speaking of seeds, the Monsanto has bought up all the major seed companies in the world, and they're producing many altered hybrids that may be useful, it may not, but it frightens me in that they are not working toward more flavor or more nutrition. They're working toward faster, bigger stuff. Buy your seeds from the smaller companies that produce heirloom seeds or minor hybrids that have existed naturally. I have in my front yard an apricot tree that is a black apricot. It comes out of Siberia, where there is a natural hybridization between an apricot and a dark plum. Now, we can't always trust the natural things, but by and large we can. I'm still waiting for the first fruit, but it's only 4 years old. And so, what time has given to our plants to make seeds? We know it's more reliable. We can depend on it. May not be as pretty. Your tomatoes may and maybe not as big, but they're going to be better. Think about this. Anything else that we have to bring up?
You brought up Monsanto. Some of these smaller growers in this country who are trying to grow organic and trying to grow heirloom plants are having problems right now because Monsanto is actively trying to contaminate and push them out by making sure that their crops mysteriously wind up somewhere within those fields. And once they do, there's eminent domain rules about how Monsanto has agreements with the government on subsidies and so forth that are driving a lot of these smaller growers out. So it's become more important than ever to start growing your own.
Yeah, we need to support the people that are doing the things that we need. Right. You just reminded me of something else too. I don't know how many of you, what are you willing to risk for your work? And hold on a minute, Cassie, let me get this one out. Some weeks ago, a story came out about a reporter in Russia where she stood up before the government and said, "This is evil. We are killing the Ukrainians for no reason except the madness of one man." I can't quote her, but she risked her life and her children's life to stand up in front of a body of humans and speak into a microphone to say what she had to say about the wrongness of what was happening. I would hope none of us have to risk our lives, but people have all along. I don't know what's happening to her. I would suggest if you care, look it up. There is an organization that exists to work with her legally and protect and care for her and try to get her out of Russia before the authorities kill her. We are hopefully not going to be put in that position. But think about with what you're doing. What are you willing to risk? People laughing at you? That will hurt you. There are many other things. Cassie, you wanted to say something.
At this moment in time, I'm growing banana. At this moment in time, I'm growing banana trees, papaya trees, dragon fruit, blackberry bushes, mango trees, avocados, and fig trees.
So we could all come get food at your yard.
You could, but I'm also making my banana trees, when they get puppies, I'm putting them in pots and gifting them.
That's a good thing. That's a good thing.
I'm making papaya plants out of the seeds that come off my papaya, and they're all organic.
Here in
And
Florida,
I'm making
yeah,
papaya trees,
yeah.
and I'm gifting them.
Good, good. Here in Florida, you've got an opportunity to share out a lot of fruits and vegetables because you can grow things in your room. I trust you will keep doing that. Thank you. That's really
As long as I can, I will.
Well, and there's an organization in Fort Myers called ECHO. It is a Christian organization, but I've talked to the people who work there, and they really don't judge, so they're not going to not share what they do, but they do a lot in the way of teaching urban farming. That no matter how small your space is, they can show you how to grow your own food.
Okay, I want to talk just a minute about the transition movement. Who knows about that? Well, of course, I expected you. The transition movement, as I understand, started 20, 30 years ago in Ireland. Some small village said, "Oh, look at what's happening. We're going to be in trouble down there." And they organized themselves, one group to consider how we can keep food, one group to consider water, government, medication, education, all of the aspects of a community. And that movement has grown to be worldwide. I was fortunate to belong briefly to the only transition group in West Virginia. It died from lack of interest after about 2 years, but transition is what we're in. And there is information out there. Look up transition movement. You can find a lot of things. It's become a philosophy. just as permaculture has. I won't go into that. Who knows about permaculture? Okay. The rest of you learn. Look up transition movement and look up permaculture. These are important aspects to do what we're doing. Now I'm going to close this with reading something of my own. I've quoted a lot of people and I have hours and hours of quotes, but I would like to leave you with this. In 2004, this came in a dream to me, and it set for me what my purposes are and what my main message is. It evolved, incidentally, into a book, and when I get over there to the commercial part, I will tell you about it. But this is called The Challenge. I challenge you by mystery and by magic to become the person you were meant to be, to cherish the sacred earth, to honor the blowing winds, to nourish the healing fire, and to drink deeply from the living waters. I challenge you to live life more fully, to awaken to the infinite possibilities around you, to know that you are the major limiting factor in your life. You are the only limiting factor in your life. I challenge you to free yourself from both nation and race, to recognize all humans as your family, to know that war is not the answer to conflict. I challenge you to become more aware of the other than human beings around you, to share habitat and nourishment with them, to acknowledge them as your teachers. I challenge you to truly view this planet Earth as a single living organism, to understand that she is divine, as are all living things, and to find your purpose in relation to hers. In times to come, there will be darkness and dissolution. There will be raging anger, pain and deprivation. There will be loss, and there will be violent death. I challenge you to continue in your chosen path, living joyously as may be. Let not fear be deaf to the words of the unawakened. Let not fear give you unease, nor despair make you weak. For the Eternal One is with you now and forevermore. We can know that. It's here. You're it. You are the one.